Hey everybody, it's Dr. Trey with the Trans Trainer, where I provide physical therapy, post-op programming, and fitness coaching to other queer and trans folks. Today, I wanted to give you all a little demo about how I break down setting up a program in terms of lifting and what you can do at home if you are somebody that's pretty well versed with going to the gym, but maybe is ready to mix it up or is not seeing the gains that they want, how you can do this on your own as well and kind of build yourself a plan. And as always, if you're looking for more help and you want more customization, whether it be injury prevention, prepping for a surgery, physical therapy, or just looking to get strong, I do offer free consults and monthly and individual training programs. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so the biggest thing we have to think about in terms of breaking up our workout days is what our goals are. So, for example, if your goal is to get strong, I usually have folks try to go to the gym 3, maybe even 4 times a week. Versus if your goal is to improve cardio, you're going to be spending that many days running or biking or swimming, whatever it is you love to do. And then maybe you're only lifting 2 days a week to still make sure that you're preventing injuries and keeping yourself strong. So it really depends on what your goals are and what you're willing to dedicate to. So let's just say, for example, I'm lifting 3 days a week, which is what I personally tend to do because I also really like to run. So I tend to alternate my days running, lifting, running, lifting. And then I usually take 1 to 2 days off on the weekend to go for a hike or just chill with my dog. Um, Again, this is an example of what I personally do. I'm not saying this is the end all be all way to set up a program, okay? But in general, the 3 days that I do kind of look like this. So I have day one, I do a push day that involves both my legs and my chest. Then I do day two, a pull day, both legs and upper body, back and biceps. And then a third day, I do some leg accessory pushing muscles as well as shoulders and triceps. All right. So let's say, so this morning I did my pull day. So how do I break this up? Every day needs to have a warm up. And my biggest pet peeve is that folks are not warming up the muscle that they're actually using. So, for example, for my pull day, I warmed up this morning with some pull aparts, right? Because it warms up my upper and middle back. Another example of this could be shoulder rotations or trunk extensions, right? A rowing machine if I'm doing back day. What it shouldn't be is my walk to the gym because that's not warming up my back. Or riding a stationary bike. That might be okay on leg day, but it's not helping my back or my upper body. Okay. So try to pick a warm up activity that matches the muscles that you're going to be using. And it doesn't need to be this super long, drawn out warm up. It takes like 5 minutes or less. Okay. Then what we want to do is arrange our exercises from big to small. So big compound exercises, for example, squat, deadlift, bench press, overhead press, pull ups, right? The exercises that use multiple muscle groups. And those are your key exercises where we should be putting our focus in. I was talking with somebody yesterday about this that doing a whole bunch of little exercises is not going to make you stronger, right? It's not about how much volume you do. You need to do the biggies and take your time on the big ones. And then you can pepper in some volume later on. But that's not what's going to make you bigger or stronger. It's the big functional movements. And those are the ones that I don't change month to month. I always deadlift. I always squat. I always do pull ups. I always do bench press. I always do overhead press. They're always there. I change up the little guys so I don't get bored. And so I work different muscle groups, but the big ones stay. So after my big exercises, and I kind of put some suggested sets down for you, I tend to do anywhere from 4 to 5 sets of 4 to 6 reps. Okay. Those are my big exercises like my deadlift. Now, the other thing that doesn't mean is that when I go to deadlift, I don't put 200 pounds on the bar and I start my set, right? You have to work up to that weight. So I might be starting with just the bar and then adding 10 pounds and then adding 20 pounds and working my way up. And then I start counting my sets once I get to that top weight that I'm actually working at. Then I move down to medium exercises. These might work a couple muscle groups, but they're not the biggies. So, for example, maybe like a row or a lat pull down that works more than one muscle, but is not going to be the weight or the reps that I do up here. So, I usually do 6 to 8 reps in those. And then down here, we have our small exercises. Those are things like biceps or triceps or calves, right? Little exercises, little muscles that obviously you're going to be using much less weight on. And because you're using less weight, then your volume can go up. So in general, weight and volume are inverse of each other. The more weight, the less volume, and vice versa. And you want to do those towards the end because A, you don't want to tire yourself out on these little guys and then the big ones suffer. And B, let's say you're short on time, it's not going to make a huge difference if you skip your bicep curl that day, but it will if you consistently skip the deadlift, right? So prioritize the big ones. I always end with at least one core exercise and then some rolling and stretching. So again, this is not the end all be all way to set up a program. I'm not saying this is the perfect way to program, but it's worked well for me and it's worked well for a lot of my folks. So I just wanted to share how I do this in case this is something that you see yourself wanting to try. Grab a notebook paper and fill in the blanks and see what you think.